Almost everything you think is a fact is actually a lie, carefully crafted by marketers, propagandists, and Hollywood directors. It's time to stop living in a simulation. Take breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Sounds like medical wisdom, but it began as advertising in the 19th century. Early cereal promoters didn't uncover a biological rule, they created a daily habit that sold grain. Your body doesn't care what the clock says. It responds to total energy, nutrients, sleep, and activity. For some people, breakfast helps appetite and focus. For others, it doesn't. The slogan survived because it's useful. It turns a product into a moral obligation and skipping a meal into a failure. Or look at camels. You were probably told their humps are water tanks. They aren't. They're fat, dense energy stored for lean times. Camels survive deserts through a whole system: fat reserves, efficient kidneys, oval blood cells that tolerate dehydration, and the ability to drink enormous amounts of water at once. Humps full of water stuck because it's visual and tidy. Multiple adaptations are harder to teach than a single cartoon explanation. Then there's the five senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell, touch. Clean list, easy quiz question. Also wrong. Humans have many sensory systems. You know where your arm is without looking because of proprioception. You stay upright because of balance signals from your inner ear. You feel heat and cold through thermoreception. You sense internal states like hunger and heartbeat through interoception. The exact count depends on definitions, but 5 was always a teaching shortcut. The problem is when the shortcut gets mistaken for literal anatomy. Some myths spread because they feel like life-saving hacks. Jellyfish stings are a good example. Pop culture insists urine helps. In reality, it can make things worse by triggering unfired stinging cells to release more venom. Heat helps with many stings because it reduces pain and can break down toxins. Rinsing with seawater is often safer than fresh water. The pee story spread because it's shocking, memorable, and feels empowering in a crisis. Accuracy loses to repeatability. Chameleons get the same treatment. They don't mainly change color to hide. They change color to communicate and regulate temperature. Dark colors absorb heat. Bright shifts signal aggression or mating intent. Camouflage exists, but it's not the headline feature. The stealth ninja reptile idea stuck because it fits our expectations better than social signaling in a lizard. Wartime incentives create even stronger myths. Carrots giving night vision weren't a nutrition breakthrough. They were a World War II cover story. Britain wanted to hide radar technology and encourage people to eat a cheap, abundant vegetable during rationing, so they credited pilots' nighttime success to carrots. Vitamin A matters if you're deficient, but extra carrots won't turn you into a superhero. The story worked because it served two goals at once and sounded wholesome. Visual intuition fools us too. You've heard that blood is blue in your veins. It never is. Blood is always red, brighter with oxygen and darker without it. Veins look blue because of how light scatters in skin and how your eyes interpret contrast. The illusion feels like direct observation, so it's rarely questioned. Fear-based rules are another category. People say waking a sleepwalker can kill them. There's no good evidence for that. Waking someone may confuse them, but the real danger is letting them wander into stairs, doors, or traffic. The myth survived because it's dramatic and encourages a single, simple rule: never wake them. Metaphors pretending to be physics last forever. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Sounds poetic, but it's nonsense. Lightning follows paths of least resistance. Tall, conductive structures get hit repeatedly. Some buildings are struck dozens of times a year. Nature doesn't care about sayings that make us feel special. Hollywood loves exaggeration, especially with animals. Sharks can smell tiny concentrations of blood, but not from miles away in open ocean. Detection depends on currents, dilution, and distance. One drop from miles away turns a real ability into a monster power because fear is cinematic. The internet added its own production line. You don't swallow 8 spiders a year in your sleep. That number was invented to show how easily people repeat false trivia. Spiders avoid humans. Your mouth is warm, wet, loud, and full of moving air.
To a spider, you're not prey, you're a natural disaster. History gets edited the same way. Pirates making people walk the plank feels iconic, but it's mostly a literary invention. Real pirates were brutal and efficient. If someone needed to be killed or punished, they didn't stage a performance. They threw them overboard, marooned them, or used violence directly. The plank survived because it's a perfect visual scene. Even well-meaning advice gets fossilized into fake precision. You don't lose 45% of your body heat through your head. That number came from a study where soldiers were bundled up except for their heads. You lose heat from whatever is exposed. Your head isn't a magical chimney, it's just skin. A hat helps if your head is uncovered, but wearing a hat without pants won't save you. Cultural symbolism fills in gaps where evidence is thin. Owls are labeled wise because of ancient myths and their serious faces. In reality, their brains are small and specialized for hunting. Birds like crows and ravens show much more flexible problem-solving and social intelligence. Wisdom here is a story we projected onto a useful predator. Sometimes a real anomaly turns into a general belief. A headless chicken usually runs for seconds because of reflexes. One chicken, Mike, survived for 18 months because the brainstem remained intact and he was cared for. The phrase, running around like a headless chicken, took a rare edge case and let it stand in for biology as a whole. None of these examples are random. They follow the same production logic. A claim appears because someone benefits, or because it simplifies teaching, or because it makes a better story. It gets packaged into a vivid image or slogan. It's repeated by authority figures, movies, parents, and classrooms. Eventually, it fades into the background and feels like reality itself. Correction is harder than creation because nuance takes longer than a sentence. This is what people mean, loosely, when they say it feels like living in a simulation. Not that physics is fake, but that much of what you know about the world is an interface. It's optimized for selling cereal, winning wars, scaring audiences, or getting through a school day. The danger isn't believing one wrong fact. It's mistaking the interface for the system underneath. You don't need to fact-check everything to escape that. You just need pattern recognition. When you hear a claim, ask who benefits if it's true. Ask whether it's advice dressed up as literal reality. Notice absolute language like always, never, most important, miles away. Ask what the mechanism is supposed to be, not just the story, and consider whether this might be a simplification that outlived its original purpose. The goal isn't distrust, it's clarity. Reality is solid. Gravity still works, camels are still real, but a lot of what floats around as common knowledge is mass-produced second-hand belief. Once you recognize that, the world stops feeling deceptive and starts feeling legible. You begin to see the edges of the screen.